Hey everyone, and welcome back to Elite Hip Hop. Death is an unpredictable thing which comes to all the people in the universe, and nobody knows when they're gonna die. But there were certain people who predicted their own death, which seemed strangely specific about their own demise. Today we're gonna be talking about the top 10 rappers who predicted their own death. Make sure you stay until number 1, as you don't want to miss in what eerie ways these popular rappers predicted their own end. Don't forget to turn on post notifications, like, and subscribe to our channel. Number 10. Lisa Lopes. Lisa Lopes, was also known as Left Eye, was one of the most important members of the ever-successful girls group of all time, TLC. Lisa Lopes died a tragic death in a car accident. The news was rather shocking to all the fans, since some speculated that she would eventually take her life after an incident that occurred which kept her shaken. Weeks before the car accident, which took Lisa's life, she was involved in another car accident that killed a boy named Bayron Ismael Fuentes Lopez, which disturbed Lisa a lot since they shared similar last names. She believed that the spirits that haunted her killed the child by accident. Despite the fact that it wasn't there in any lyrics, it was pretty much eerie that because she admitted of dreaming about her own death in a few days before she died. Number 9. Chinx Drugz. Lionel Pickens, popularly known as Chinx Drugz, was a member of French Monaco's Coke Boys. Chinx was murdered in a drive-by shooting on May 17, 2015, just as he was making his name in the hip-hop world by earning major fame. He always rapped about the hardships and struggles he faced while growing up in Queens, New York. In one of his songs called Maybe, he expressed how he felt after losing a close friend of him as a result of the rough lifestyle they shared, and vented out all of his anger and frustration, and also claimed that he would probably meet them all soon in the other side. The lyrics were, "Certain things in life just go unexplained. Death's a sure thing. Kids left to hold your name. This is for my homies on the other side. We see you short, but try hard not to my stride. Shiesty won't my high, but the key in the ignition and jump in the ride. Just trying to find a peace of mind. This nasty trying to take a piece of mine." Number 8. Juice Wrld. Juice was another star who eerily predicted his own death. Juice was the most recent rap star who died on Sunday, December 8, 2019, after suffering a seizure at Midway International Airport, Chicago. The news was indeed surprising, the industry and many people who loved him so much. But what many did not know was that Juice predicted his death on his 2018 track Legend. In the lyrics of the song, he rapped, "What's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21." Which indeed is eerie and chills, because Juice passed away when he was just 21 years old and did not make it past 21, just like how he rapped in his song. After his death, the other stars of the music industry paid tribute to him by dropping all the songs which were recorded when he was alive as his album, which he admired and loved by many. Number 7. Dalla. Roderick Anthony Burton II, better known by his stage name Dalla, was another rapper who the hip-hop industry lost too soon. Too soon, by which I mean even before his first debut album was released. But it was later released after his death. He was tragically shot at the valet stand of the Beverly Center shopping mall in Los Angeles. In his album, he often rapped about the gangster life he lived in Atlanta. In one of his tracks named Georgia Nights, he predicted his own death. He rapped about how he would die by a gun, similar to the rest of the men in his family, implying his fate was sealed already. The lyrics were, "Waking up cold sweats, having a dream of going out with bang. My papa died by the gun, I'll die by the gun. And if I ever have a son, he'll probably die by the same." Number 6. XXXTENTACIon. Many people were shocked and mourning greatly after the death of XXXTENTACIon, being gunned down in a robbery in Broward County, Florida, broke. The fact that made X's death eerie was that the rapper predicted that he would die a tragic death during one of his last Instagram lives. During his live session, he said, "If worst thing come to worst and I die a tragic death of some shit, and I'm not able to set out my dreams, I at least want to know that the kids perceive my message and were able to make something positive and to at least have a good life." He also said he might be a sacrifice, before also adding, "I just wanted to say I appreciate and love all of you and believe you all." Number 5. Proof. Proof not only foretold his own death, but so did his best friend and D12 bandmate Eminem. Proof was pronounced dead after a tragic shootout that happened in a nightclub where he was shot fatally. What was eerie about his death was that in the D12 song 40 Ounce, Proof rapped, "I'm in the club to beef and you gotta murder me there," which was very clear that he was talking about his own death, considering that was the situation in which he died. Also, a year after 40 Ounce was released, Proof featured in a song by Eminem called Toy Soldier as a man who was slain in a drive-by while his best friend watched, which, if you ask me, is quite scary. Number 4, Big L. A young legend, Lamont Coleman, popularly known as Big L, was widely known in the hip-hop world during his teen years. He was killed at the age of 21, yet another rapper who went too fast. He passed away months before dropping his highly awaited follow-up of his debut album. His second album was released after his death, but what was eerie about his death was that in one of his songs from his second album called Casualties of a Dice Game, he says, "I got weak and fell in my rear. Now I can hear the sirens, but means here comes the Jakes. But it's too late. I'm knocking on the pearly gates." In which Big L describes a scene of gambling and crime in which he ends up dying. He was murdered in a drive-by, just a couple blocks away from where he grew up in Harlem on February 13th. Number 3, Notorious B.I.G. Notorious B.I.G. was one of the rappers who dominated the rap industry in the 90s, along with Tupac Shakur. Notorious B.I.G. often rapped a lot about death and dying, so it was not much of a big deal. But when he rapped about death in his song Suicidal Thought, people thought he was just being too paranoid. He was killed in a drive-by shooting shortly after attending the Soul Train Awards on March 9, 1997, and it was perhaps after his unfortunate event that people thought his song Suicidal Thoughts was more of a forewarning of his death. In this song, he rapped, "I'm glad I'm dead. I swear to God like death is calling me." Despite the investigation of his death, no true suspects were charged with the crime. Number 2, Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur was a legendary rapper who met his demise when he was just 25 years. He was terribly shot and killed during a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas in 1996, with a lot of people still mourning his death until today. His death is a veiled mystery. Many believe that Tupac has seen his death coming since months before he was murdered. He featured on Richie Rich's Done Change, on which he said, "I've been shot and murdered. Can you tell how it happened, word for word?" These lyrics were so hauntingly, so close to the rapper's death, many people believed he predicted it. During his last interview, he told, "This is my last interview. If I get killed, I want people to get every drop. I want them to have the real story." It was indeed great remorse to the industry as well to lose such a talented rapper, and years after his death, his works are winning hearts of every generation, keeping his legacy intact. Number 1, Mac Miller. Malcolm James McCormick, whom we all know as Mac Miller, had many hit songs in his career and also dated singer Ariana Grande. He lost his life due to an overdose in 2018. In what was his last album released during his lifetime called Swimming, Miller often rapped about death, specifically in the song Self-Care, where in the music video we see Miller trapped in a coffin underground. It was only at the end of the video he escaped it and went on to live his life, which can be either an illusion of him or walking into the afterlife. In this song he says, "Can't trust no one, can't even trust yourself," which many believed was about lover Ariana Grande who dumped him. And the other part of it was about himself considering his own death, which was by his own hands, and maybe, just maybe, Miller knew that he was going to end up that way. Some people speculated that Miller had some mental illness, and he wanted to end getting better, that he overdosed himself willingly, which killed him, ending whatever misery he had. And there it is, the 10 rappers who predicted their own death. Which of these deaths were more shocking to you? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.